I also want to say thank you to STCR for inviting me and LOC to do this webinar as part of your retail innovation series. So hopefully I'll be able to present some interesting stuff, and we'll all learn a little something, hopefully. I'm going to see if I can hide my camera. Okay. I want to start with a little housekeeping. Some of you may know, if you visited our website in the last days, for example, locsoftware.com, you may realize that we've done a little bit of a rebranding. We're still LOC Software. Nothing has changed there. We're still the same company, the same owners and all of that. But as you may realize, some of you that are familiar with us, we've had products that varied in names. And sometimes those names are a little confusing, quite admittedly. So you take SMS, you take eSuite, eSuite Care, mFloor, mSuite, Xstore. Not necessarily the most meaningful names, and again, often confusing. So we've come up with a rebranding, the product name being Thriversa. And that's a combination of thrive. We all want to thrive in business, be successful. And it's been part of our basic branding for a while, in fact. Versatility, which in today's world, as always, but even more so today, I suppose, being versatile is important. Being able to adapt and being able to evolve, and with technology in our case, and with the business is very important. So that's the versatility. And of course, applied technology, our application, and everything that we've applied in terms of features and so forth. So again, Thriversa, it's the new brand name. It's the same functionality. In fact, some new functionality I'm going to talk a little bit about today. And of course, delivered either via the cloud, often via the cloud, or on-premise. We're not going away from being on-premise or having on-premise as an option. I know in the grocery world, for example, that's often a preferred approach still. One thing you're going to see, we've developed, and we spent a lot of effort in developing more browser-based applications. So flexibility of that, and I'll talk about that. And of course, we've always, been proud of the fact that we're hardware agnostic for the most part, and even more so now. When you think about being browser-based, we're not only hardware agnostic, we're often OS agnostic. We're not necessarily just a Windows application anymore. If you've got a device that you can open a browser on, you could have access to our product and to everything that you might need to do. So why did we change? Well, again, it was sometimes confusing with all the names. We thought it was an opportune time, as our product has matured, to come up with a single product and solution name, but then have some descriptions of it that are more meaningful. So we'll get to that. And that includes POS, self-service, self-checkout, kiosk, supply chain, which is procurement, buying, receiving, all of that, warehouse, enterprise, of course, whether your enterprise is one store or it's 100 stores, it's the enterprise being the ability to do the management of your product and all that goes behind that. Loyalty is a feature that we've long integrated with. We've got our own native loyalty features. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that today. E-commerce, mobile, again, can take on some different meanings, whether that's a mobile consumer app, whether that's a mobile app for store associates. And we have a new version of that mobile app coming up, and I'll talk about that today. Payments, of course, always important at the point of sale. Payments, credit card, OTC, various things like that. And fuel. Some of you may not even realize we've always had or at least we've very long had a fuel interface, and we'll continue with that. So just the last bit, give you some sense of where the replacement came in and everything. Instead of eSuite Care, loyalty, just Thriversa Loyalty. Instead of e-kiosk, for example, Thriversa Self-Service, and so forth. Warehouse, POS, supply chain for procurement instead of eSuite Buy. Okay, those are the names that I think are more meaningful to everybody out there than Care or Xstore, e-commerce, payments, mobile fuel enterprise. So I hope you like it. Everything takes a little bit of getting used to. And again, if you haven't visited our website lately, I welcome you to do so. We got more information about all of that on there. Okay, so let's move on to the interesting things. And I've decided to take a format of a bit of a top 10. Okay, so we'll do a little bit of a countdown and top 10 features and design and so forth that I think are new, either relatively new, have been added and probably used by some of you, but improved, or really new. And try to help point some of that out as we go along. Okay, some of the stuff that's brand new. So at number 10, more customer loyalty features. We've had customer loyalty into our system for virtually since day one. But loyalty, like most things, has evolved in the business, right? So loyalty today, for example, includes a need for customer segmentation, I would say. It's not just about creating loyalty for anonymous customers anymore. It's about really wanting to identify who your customers are that you want to reward, and the segmentation that goes behind that. We'll talk more about that. And once you've done that segmentation, creating offers that are targeted toward them, personalized offers, coupons, money off, discounts, and so forth, okay? We'll talk about that as well. Notifications. I mean, what good is it to create personalized offers if your customers cannot become aware of the fact that you've got these offers for them? So emails, text messages, sometimes consumer mobile apps that you can present it through, all part of our extended loyalty features today. When you put that all together, really what becomes important after that is being able to analyze the results and adjust sometimes, right? It's not always going to work straight out of the gate. You want to be able to have that vision of what's going on, who's received those offers that you've created, who's been using those offers, how much money is represented out there in terms of the offers, all of that becoming in detailed analysis. Okay, more on the targeted offers. So it's important to target your customers, offer more personalized rewards. I think I mentioned that. So we've created apps, browser-based app that will assist with that. It'll allow you to select customers based on a wide range of criteria. You know, such things as demographics, like where do they live? We want to target customers that are in our region, in the region of certain stores, in a particular zip code. Maybe it's about age group, okay? Like a senior discount, but you want to be able to target your consumers, you know, and make them feel special somehow. Birthdays, if you're going to get that information, if consumers are willing to give you their birthday, then why not be able to target them and offer them rewards when it's their birthday week or even their birthday, okay? But it's not always about demographics, of course, right? Sometimes it's about things like their spending habits and their sales history. So for example, customers who have shopped in your store in the last 30 days or customers who have not shopped in your store, our system will allow you to target either way. Customers who've been purchasing certain items or in certain departments, or those who have not been shopping in departments. Sometimes you know customers are coming in, and you can tell if you're tracking all those sales, you know that your customers perhaps are buying in the bakery department, but you can't figure out why are they not buying too much produce, for example. Maybe let's figure out who those customers are that are buying in bakery but not in produce and offer them a reward, a coupon, a free item in the produce department, entice them in. Okay, so those are all things that become part of this segmentation and targeted offer piece. Or maybe it's about rewarding the top customers, top in terms of the number of visits they've made, or top in terms of the number of dollars they spent, or even their basket size, their average basket size. All of those things can be queried through the web apps that we've provided, okay? The marketing and loyalty app. And it's a simple kind of a checkbox and input drop-down selections, and that'll create that query. And once you've got that query and that campaign that you want to continue, you'll be able to create a scheduled task that you can rerun, so you don't have to do it every time. And after you've got your target audience, through that query. What do you want to do? You want to assign them offers. Put those offers in what is like their electronic wallet, right? So they don't need to bring a piece of paper with a barcode or something. They just need to identify themselves at the register. By then, hopefully they know they've got those offers. And the offers are serialized, right? They're fraud proof. They're into a database where we know when the customer has come in, when the customer has used that offer. And if you've only given them one of those, they're only going to be able to redeem one of those. And again, send them those notifications, the emails, the text messages, all through our own system, sometimes integrated with preferred vendors like AWS, Amazon Web Service, that will help protect you from getting blacklisted and so forth for email. Okay, so that's all part of those features that we now have, and all part of some of the better loyalty that we have. What else in loyalty? Points programs. Points have often been a big piece of loyalty. And of course, points can be used for many things. One of the, what we call low-lying fruit in the world of loyalty is to create a club. It's very easy in our system to create a club, use one of the 35 point programs that we can offer, create a club or create several clubs. Club meaning we're going to track their purchases. So we're going to create a milk club, a wine club, a coffee club. And you're going to decide in how you set it up what the reward is. Oh, if I buy 10 coffees, I get one free. Doesn't, if you're a chain of stores, it doesn't matter which store I go to, it's all tracked centrally. Those are easy programs to set up, and they actually work. You know, customers will come back specifically because they know they've got 2 more coffees to go, or what have you, you know, 2 more gallons of milk. And while they're there, they're most likely going to pick up some other stuff. So they work. So what have we improved in the point program management? We've now, through our back-end system, our browser-based system, we give you the ability to not just track point balances and such, but drill down all the way to the transaction level to see how they earn those points. Perform point adjustments from the back office. It was something we can only really do at the front end, the POS before. Now you can do all the way from the back office, where, you know, it probably should be done a lot of times. Convert points to money on private gift card if you're using our gift card program. Okay, so many more reports. This is a screenshot, a little bit from the app that you would see some of the reports that we offer. And everything that we have in our new web apps, our new browser-based apps, is grid-based. It's very familiar to most users. It's like working in a spreadsheet. So you can see the point balance, you can see the details, you can drill down to the transactions if that's what you want to do. And sometimes you might need to do a points adjustment. If I'm a consumer and I call up and I say, I don't think I got those points I was supposed to get, they seem a little unhappy. You can first of all prove to them, hopefully, that you did give them a point, reprint the receipt, email it. But you know what? As a token of good gesture, let's adjust the point perhaps. Let's give them an extra point in the coffee club, okay? All that to be able to be done from the back office. So improvements in the loyalty. Number 9, Coupon Wizard. We talk about loyalty. We've always had a strong coupon engine. We've always been able to create powerful coupons based on lots of criteria. The catch, it's often been very difficult or like complicated. So we created a coupon wizard. Is that a buy one, get one coupon, % off coupon, free items, save money, mix and match type coupons? It doesn't matter. We have a wizard that will help you step through the process of those coupons, okay? Step-by-step wizard this time. Drop-down selections to decide what type of coupon are you creating? What kind of name should I give the coupon? Where should the revenue go? Even automatically assign the coupon code now. If you don't, you know, if you don't want to have to assign your own manual code to the coupon, we can generate the coupon code automatically. So just an easier process for making coupons. And I think everybody who's seen this really seems to like it. And I think it's a great step in the right direction to help make that easier for you. Number 8, item audit history. So we've always logged everything that was done in our application, but it's not always easy for an end user, for yourselves, for the retailers, to get to those logs. Those are logs, they're more or less technical. You know, they're not well presented for the average end user. But now we have the ability through the back-end system again, and through a whole new series of tables that we created to store that data. So we have ability to track every price change, keep in record every price change that you want, you know, for as long as you want to keep it. Of course, if you're doing a lot of price changes, that's going to create more data. You might get concerned about the size of your database or such, and that's all configurable. But if you want to keep 5 years of price changes and you have a database, you have a hard drive and so forth, like most hard drives today are very big, that's not so much a concern. You can do that now. They're stored in the database. They're stored in a way that they're easy to query again. And it doesn't have to be just price changes, by the way. It could be any kind of change, any general change that you could be making to items, for example. Query that. Query that how? Through some buttons on the screen to start with, and then through a wizard, a price change wizard. Oh, which code or which series of codes do I care about whether they changed, okay? And what department and what category from what vendor over what time frame. Or if you're doing general changes, even more granular options. Which table did they, did I want do I want to query for any change, whether it was cost, whether it was done to the POS information, the main item information. But as you can see, checkboxes for that, for a date range, for UPC code range or what have you. And then come back with a detailed or summary view of the changes. If you want a detailed view, we'll give it to you. Who did the change? What was it before they made the change? What exactly changed? What field? Okay. Or who did the change? When did they do it? Was it part of a batch that came in, or was it a manual change made? When was it done, and what terminal, what time, by who? What was it before it was changed? What was it after? All very granular stuff. So for the data analysts, for the loss prevention people, for the people concerned about history, it's great. All new stuff that's there for you. Number 7. This is one of the most impressive things I think that I show in a demo and people really like. It's the ability to do copy paste, import and export of data, literally copy paste. So you want to export anything that you've got on the screen, whether it's your item information, whether it's a purchase order, whether it's customer details. It's a one-click export, essentially, out to Excel, out to a CSV, out to something that you can then use, if you want to, for your third-party software. Look at it in Excel, play with it in Excel. Do what you need to do to import it into your other system or leverage it with some other system for reporting or what have you, for accounting. But you know what? More than that, you could copy out of that third-party Excel or note, text file, and think of the usage of that. Maybe you're sitting with a vendor and it's their price list, and now you would like to know, I wonder what I've been selling those items that I'm looking at trying to negotiate new prices with. Hey, just copy those UPCs out of that spreadsheet, paste it into our application and run a query, and it's going to bring you back the sales. Copy paste like that. Maybe you want to take what is a new price list or a new series of costs from a vendor, and you want to create an import of your own rather than have to type in those costs or those new future prices. It's about pasting the data, and then, as you might see here on the screen, being able to associate each of the columns that you've pasted with which field they should be mapped to. The first column is the item UPC, for example. Maybe the third column is the price, the new price. The fourth column is the quantity. It's simple mapping. It's stuff that I think very many end users who are at all technical could manage on your own, right? And be able to do all kinds of things with that. And once you've created those sort of mappings, you can save them as templates so they can be reused over and over again. So never been so easy to do imports. And not every import, mind you. We still have complex links that have to do with grocery wholesalers where it's more than just a simple import process. They're already in place, these links. But if you're dealing especially with smaller providers who sometimes they don't have the ability to do EDI, they don't have the ability to do APIs, but they can give you a spreadsheet. Well, now you've got that opportunity to work with it and be able to import it, okay? So have a look at that. Talking about reporting, more flexible reporting altogether. This new user interface and series of user interfaces that are browser-based, I've always talked about the fact that in our application, in good old SMS Pro, as is known, we've got like 400 reports. But the truth is, we've got 400 reports because there were 50 reports, but every time somebody would want a different layout, it really meant having to create a new report. They're pre-formatted reports for the most part. So I like that sales report, but I wish it was laid out week by day. Okay, we're going to make that new report for you and offer it. That's how you get the 400 reports. And granted, we included a report generator tool, but it's sophisticated. It's not for everybody, right? It's not the average grocer or even the maybe a little bit techie person that could use that and go in and generate their own report templates. It's complex. But now with these grid style reports, you've got a wizard. You've got all kind of reports still, but far less than 400. You've got a series of what type of report is it? For example, it's a department sales report, okay? How do I want to run it? You've got a wizard to pick a period, simple drop down. I want it for the sales for department sales for the day, for the week, for the month, for the year. But hey, you know what? I want it for the week broken out by day. That's a selection now. It's not a new report. It's just a selection. I'd like to have the month by day, the month by week, and so forth. Or I just want to pick a start date and an end date and run it for that whole period. That's available there. Always being able to select which stores, which group of stores, okay? But now, the results you're going to get are coming in a grid. Again, like a spreadsheet, something that everybody's familiar with. This is an example of department sales by store. I'm going to talk about how we can provide every report by store now when I get to the host. But this is department sales by store, a nice grid that is just giving you some data that makes sense, right? Grocery for store 2, $1,800 for that day, about 425 items and so forth. But if I'm looking at the report and I want to resort it, that's no problem. Grab the columns you want, click the header, it will resort by description, by sum. And if I see something interesting about the report that I like and I want to go further, I can double click, go from department to sub-department, drill down, interactive reporting. You're on that sub-department and you want to go further down, drill down, let's get to the items. Again, group how you like, select which columns you like, save the template so that you can reuse it. It's all part of this web app, more flexibility. And why? Part of the big reason why we need far fewer reports, because we're giving you more option to be able to make the decisions you want to do without having to have the new report that's already pre-formatted. You want to go from item all the way down to the electronic journal? No problem. Drill down further. Look into the database and let's see exactly how that transaction looked, okay? Even be able to reprint a receipt if you would need to do that. Pull up a receipt, reprint it, email it out, print it on a report printer or a receipt printer, send it back out. And yes, those of you that know our SMS Pro and our electronic journal, can we still track the keystrokes? Yes, we can still expose even the keystrokes that it took that made that transaction, okay? So imagine being able to go from department sales, the highest grouping there is, all the way down to the actual transactions, all through drill down. It's great. Number 5, new mobile app for store associates. So redesigned app, okay? Very much optimized for the newer hardware that often is Android, a little bit of iOS out there as well. Still a full range of features like all of our apps. Item verification, item maintenance, purchasing, receiving, inventory. All of those things that we could always do, okay? But now, in the new app, it can support multi-target. So if you ever had a reason to want to use your app against your host and you wanted to look up prices for a particular store from a mobile, you can do that now. We never had a mobile app that could support multi-target. It was only to be used store by store and it could never be used against the headquarters of the host, but this one can. And the big change, full range of reporting, optimized for the mobile unit, or mobile unit perhaps being even your phone. Now, a phone's not the kind of unit that you necessarily want to use in the store for doing inventory counts and things like this. The the phone camera makes a relatively poor scanner, you drop your phone on the ground, may not stand up. So for those type of use, usage, you probably want something ruggedized, something like a Zebra device or Honeywell or Data Logic device. But you want to use your phone to be able to look at reports for a store, for whether they're financial reports, whether they're any kind of reports, you can do that, right? You got an iOS phone, you got an Android phone, use our new mobile app, you're in. I showed you department sales as it was in our back-end application. Look at how it is on the phone, similar, right? Still the same easy to use wizard to select what departments, what period of time, okay? But optimized for a handheld or a phone. Get your department report. You want to resort? No problem. You want to select which columns? You can do that as well. You want to drill down? Same goes. Drill down from department through sub-department all the way to items on the mobile unit. Okay. It's a very interactive, very easy to use format. Again, department sales. Oh, click on one of the departments and drill down. I can drill down because I don't want it for the month anymore. I want it for the day. I want it broken out by day. I want it down to the items. Or you like graphs? You want to have a graph, maybe a graphical representation of sales or whatever type of report it is. You can hit those buttons that will pull up graphs for you on the phone. Okay, so lots and lots of reporting that's available now on this mobile unit that was never available in any of the previous mobile units that we had. Truly mobile reporting for the first time. Hope you're going to like that. So what else? Headquarters, our hosts. There's something unique about our product, I would say, compared to many of our competitors when it comes to the headquarters piece. It's really not a whole different application whatsoever. It's the same application that you would have at the store level. Of course, it's got features designed to make it useful for your headquarters or your host. Features like multi-target, because you need to support zone pricing. Features like ways to manage pricing for groups of stores by zone or by individual. Features like being able to run reports, not just for your store, but for any group of stores. Now, we've always had that. But give you an example. When you wanted to run a report for groups of stores, you could choose any group of store. We call that a target, and you'd get a summary of that group of store. We had very few reports that would break it out by store. I think it was a weakness. It was one of the weaknesses we had, but no more. Now, every report that you run in our browser-based apps can be by store just by using a checkbox. So when you look at the bottom in the wizard, whether that's your financial reports, your department sales, your customer reports, if you want it broken out by store and you're at the host, just check that box that says by store. You'll get a report that is one store under the other for as many stores as you want. You only want it for the east side, west side, you want all the stores, but click by store and you'll get those one under the other. That's new. I think that's going to be very much appreciated for the people who use our hosts, who use our headquarters. And okay, that's one thing. Another thing is comparison reports. I mean, sometimes you'll use comparison reports right at the store, and you can. It doesn't have to be a host feature, because maybe you want to compare two date ranges or two groups of product or two departments. But a lot of times what I've heard from the people who are using the host is they want to compare two groups of stores or two stores specifically. And they want to do that for year-over-year comparison, perhaps, or for region by region comparisons, you know. You want to run product reports, but you'd like to know how are those products doing in that store versus this store, or in that region versus this region, because it's going to help you to decide how to price those products, you know, per store, if that's what you're doing. All of those types of reports, those compare reports, still have your choice of filters, your choice of sort order, your layout. And you'll see, like in this screenshot right here, we're showing a compare totals. That's just for the financials, but you'll have that type of a compare totals button on any type of report you run now from the host or from the store. Okay, so whether it's financials, whether it's department sales, whether it's customer sales, you'll always have that available for you there. Okay, let's move on here. Hopefully that's something that you'll I think you'll appreciate and you'll find interesting, especially for the host users. There's the example of the wizard that has to do with compare stores or compare totals. So you can see in that example, we've got, in this case, 2 different dates, year over year, 2 different store groups or individual stores, even 2 different totalizers. If you've been using our system for a while, you've heard the term totalizer, right? So, hey, I'd like to have the net sales versus the net sales, but maybe I want to have the total sales versus total sales, or even 2 different totalizers. It's all possible when you these type of compare reports. So much more flexibility there, I think, is the name of the game. Another host headquarter level feature that, it becomes part of the struggle of trying to maintain a group of stores at the headquarters, especially if you've got a number of stores and they're all doing their own pricing or zone pricing. It can be a challenge to maintain that, what we call multi-target. So a different price per store or a different price for each group of stores. That can be a challenge. Even how it's presented on screen can be a challenge. What we had done before is we'd have the price table and you'd scroll down through the entire price table to go from one store to the other. I think we've done a better job of that now in our latest apps. If you look at it in this example, here's the full price table as you might be used to from before, but right on the left, you've got a layout of all your individual stores, however many you may have, and you want to get the price as it is for store 22, store 18, store 17. It's visible right there. And if you click on it, you'll get the full price table for that store. Much easier, very visible, much easier to get a glimpse at it. But also, sometimes it's about wanting to make a change and wanting to make it across a group of stores, right? So we've made that easier as well. The global change process for multi-store, I would say much simpler in our new user apps. So you'll be able to, when you make a change, you'll be able to decide exactly which group of stores in a couple of clicks do you want to apply that change to. Whether it's all stores, certain stores, okay? 1 or 2 clicks and you'll have it done. A bit of a wizard for that. Another thing called target of target. That's a prompting mechanism. So if you already have groups of stores that you've created by target, you've got the West End stores, the East End stores, and when you make a change to an item, you're going to need to deal with deciding whether you want to apply that to all the stores in that group. You can have a pop-up, a confirmation prompt. You've made a change to one of the stores that's part of that group. Do you want to apply that? It's a bit like code, if you know what I mean by like code, where you would always get a pop-up that would ask you, and it would tell you, you've got different products with that, part of that like code. Do you want to apply that change to all those group of products? This is a bit similar, but instead of product, it's stores. Do you want to apply that change to that group of stores? Prompting, okay? Make it easier, I think. Number 3, user-friendly grids in all areas. I've already touched on that. Sometimes we've had users who would say something like, I want for certain people, all I need is a very, very simple price change screen. Very simple. Look at this example. How could it be more simple than that? You select the columns that you want. You save that template. That's the code, the description, the price quantity. 4 columns, 5 columns maybe. And when they want to make a change, call up the item using the code, the description, the whatever it is. Click over to the price field and change the price like they would in a spreadsheet. And little tips and tricks, if there's a bunch of items that are all the same price and you have not set a like code on them, but they're all sitting there in a row, click on the first one, use the shift key to go down to the last one. And now when you make that change, it'll apply it across all of them. You see the items have check boxes next to them. So I can click which ones do I want to change, highlight them, change one with the control key down, it'll change them all. Little tricks, keyboard shortcuts you'll learn. Okay, right away when we show this to people, I think in new users or users that have been using our product before, this is a familiar interface. This is something that they're used to using because it's like an Excel spreadsheet, right? So it's easy. But maybe you don't want it that easy. You need more information than 5 columns. Create another layout for the person who needs more information. You select what you need. Is it costing information? Is it margin information, rounding information? Is it inventory? Is it sales history? Just add that to the screen, save that layout, call it your own, what have you, make it public or make it private. And when you log in, you can, if you've got a number of layouts, you'll have a drop down to select from. Okay. So flexibility, versatility. That's what we've built into this. It can be very simple, can be about as sophisticated as you need it to be. And on that note, why we've got this grid with the different columns, if you've been a SMS Pro user, you'll know what I mean by the price master, the cost master, those little windows that had all the information, sometimes overwhelming, but sometimes exactly what the user wanted. They want all that whole price table right there so they don't have to add a new column. Imagine if you had to add a new column for every field that we have available in the price table, you'd have quite a spreadsheet. So what if you want that whole price window? Why not a hybrid screen? Keep the grid. Keep the grid for the columns that you would like to have in the grid, but open up, right click on any row and select which of the price, which of the master windows do you want? Price master, example. Now, you've got the grid, you've got the price master. When I scroll down or when I call up a new item, it will refresh both. Very similar to Pro, but actually kind of a hybrid, best of both worlds. I often say you could make this new user interface look just like Pro if you really want to. Open up all those windows that you did, and some people do. But more flexibility than before. You can decide what you would like. Do you want the grid? Do you want the price master? Do you want them both? Right? It's up to you. Another host improvement. What about you're not maintaining price for the stores at the host? They do their own prices, but you want to see those prices at the host. We have a new screen for that as well. So you can open up something called the store price detail. It's not designed to be editable. It's designed to expose the store prices to you because they make those own price changes down at the store. Maybe they're independents, maybe they're franchises, but you can push that information up to the host and have it in a nice little window that allows you to see store by store when you bring an item up. What is their price? Whether that's the regular price, sale price, and even if you wish, when did the price last change? Okay, so a nice utility for that as well available. One of the big host improvements that's meaningful, especially to the people at STCR, for example, because maybe they're the people who are most responsible for helping you through your upgrades and doing a lot of the configuration. And you're a chain of stores, right? Let's say you're a chain of stores. You may have lived through upgrades, right? Let's be honest, it's not easy. If you got 20 stores, you got 50 stores. It can become exponentially difficult to try to manage if part of that upgrade involves having to go to store by store. So we've created tool sets to help avoid that. Provide the tools to centralize the ability to do a configuration change. Well, first of all, centralize the tool to be able to identify all the settings at each of the stores, even down to all of the lanes at each of the stores. So if there's something different on one lane in a configuration file, and it should not be different, you'll be able to figure that out from the host. And if you need to make that change from the host to standardize it, you'll be able to do it from the host and push it out. So all the configuration files, this is for the tech people. see that configuration, be able to change it. What does it mean for you as retailers for the most part? It makes the system more efficient. You want to do an upgrade, You need to do a rollout. You need to be able to identify issues, and you don't want to have to go down to every lane at each store. You have those centralized tools to do it now. Call that the setup console. A big improvement, I think, something that everybody's going to look forward to. It's going to speed up upgrades. It's going to make them more efficient. Okay, so that's something that's going to help everybody. There's a screenshot example. I go down and I look for a configuration file. I see what the setting is, and I can tell if it's different in one lane at one store. And maybe it should, hey, they got the same printer there as everywhere else. Why would it have a different setting? Let's fix that. And let's do it from the head office, not have to go right down to the store to do it. Number 2 on the list, updated POS. Yes, browser-based POS. You know, if you're at all technical, you may realize that our POS that has existed forever was always designed in HTML, the language of the web, but HTML3, the older version of HTML. Flexible, yes. The tool to edit it, to add the buttons you want, yes. Not necessarily taking advantage of the latest technology like we are now. HTML5. Be able to make nicer looking, more flexible screens. You know, choose the colors, the shapes, the sizes, the designs that you want. Even more hardware options than before. We've always touted ourselves as hardware agnostic, but since it's a native application that had to run on the machine, the truth was it had to be a Windows machine. You could not run our POS on a Mac. If you should want to do that going forward, now this is a new item, it's just being piloted. We're going to have that capability because it's thin. It's going to run through the browser, maybe even in the cloud, hosted in the cloud, if that's something you would be interested in. So there's some technology there, but okay. You can still run the new POS, don't get me wrong, natively with a full redundant copy of the database, just as you ever did, but take advantage of the new screens, take advantage of the new tools like the new button editor. There's just an example of a POS screen created with the new layout. You know, I'm not much of an artist. I'm sure there's people who create nicer screens, but we've got the tool sets to do it. Okay, modernized tool sets, in-app tool set for button editor. In-app means as you do the changes, you see them on your screen. So you don't have to go back and forth. You can make your button sizes and button changes, your font colors, add the functions that you need, add the operations that you need, set the parameters right there. And as you're doing it, see how it's looking. All of that in this browser-based POS. So that's something to look forward to, I think. Where else does that come in? Oh, sorry. First of all, we've got a customer display. We've always had the ability to do a full customer display, and that continues. We got to pick it up because we're getting to the end of this. So we still got that full customer display, but again, browser-based, just as configurable as ever. You want to do advertising, you want to, no problem. Mobile POS, exciting. I know there's been demand for that. This whole new POS that's browser-based lends us the perfect platform for doing mobile POS. The little pictures you see are what we've been showing lately at some of the trade shows. That's running on an iPad, for example, with a wireless pin pad set in a cradle. So mobile POS, you're interested in that? Hit up your sales rep at STCR. Let's start talking about it. It's coming. We're starting to prepare for that. We've got it developed. We're getting it certified. We're getting it piloted. So let's talk about that. Okay, number 1, last one. It's kind of pull it all together, really. We've always been, again, a system that we've liked to say very feature rich, very end to end. You want to use our solution for headquarters, for the back office, for the POS, we can do that, right? We've got it. But more versatile, more flexible than ever. Browser based, so it can be anytime, anywhere, any place, anywhere you've got internet, be able to use that. And in a more user-friendly fashion, I think, more modernized, more sets of features. Still the same, you know, capability for self-service, even more self-service options, really. Kiosk, self-checkout. So that's it. That's the top 10. I hope it was interesting for you. I think we've got a little bit of time left, and I know we wanted to reserve a little bit of time for Q&A. So, Angel, if you're there.
Yeah, I'm here. We got a few questions for you.
Okay.
So the first person has two questions. The first one being, will the new mobile app be replacing Infloor? And to follow up on that, will the new app be able to be used for the receiving department?
So that's a yes to both. Now, when it comes to timing, I'm not going to be able to tell you exactly when that M4 is going to disappear, but this will be a replacement for M-Store eventually. Having said that, you will be able to, should you wish, pilot this. We're launching into pilots very shortly. So the opportunity to pilot it, if you're one of those people that, not everybody's game for pilot, I understand that, but you will be able to pilot this and perhaps use it before M-Floor even disappears, but ultimately it will replace M-Floor at some stage. And yes, it can be used for purchasing, receiving, inventory, all those same functionality that we've had in previous apps.
So the next question is for the flexible interactive reporting. Can the dynamic reports credit be set up to be automatically emailed to an individual or a team of people?
Yes, yes. So there's a whole mechanism for creating a task behind a report that could be done to have it automatically emailed to you. There's more than that, though. Some of the reports that we have today dig very granular, even more so now. For example, if you want to get into basket details and you want to run that type of a report across a long period, that's a very granular report. If you're going to be at a head office or even at a store that has a lot of transactions and you're going to want to make that query across a period of time, be prepared to wait. So instead, create a task. The task is going to be responsible for pre-generating the report. Okay, it can still email it to you, but maybe you just want to have it pre-generated so that when you come in, the report's already ready. All the data has been buffered and sitting there, and now you just got to click a button, you're going to get that. So that's all part of what you can do with tasks, including emails, yes.
So our next question is for the mobile app reporting. Can I access that on my phone while I'm off-site and not in the store?
Sure. Yeah. So the beauty of being browser based, as I mentioned, is that as long as you've kind of got now there's some network configuration behind this, you understand? There's some complexity with making sure that you've got the firewall tuned so it's safe, it's secure. But that is really the intention here. You've got a cellular phone, for example, even if you're not on Wi-Fi, but you've got good data. Yeah, connect, use your user and password, secure entry to the server from your phone, and yes, be able to run those reports for wherever you are.
Okay, so the next one we have, they say, "Hi, Pat, at my supermarket today, we accept orders over the phone and customers pay cash over delivery. When we deliver the items, is there an integrated solution where we can accept credit, debit, food stamps either before the delivery leaves or charge customers when they arrive on site via a mobile credit card processor through cell, not Wi-Fi?"
Okay, that's a good question. And so I got two ways to respond to that. I would just think I need to mention, first of all, that we have done, let's call it experimentation. We don't have a lot of examples out there. However, it is something we're going to continue to support, as I understand. There's a device called a Clover, and the Clover device is provided through Fiserv. So I'm not sure what processor this customer would be worth, but if you're a Fiserv customer, for example, formerly First Data, I get the names mixed up, but they offer this Clover device, and that could be a solution for you. We need to talk more about it. There's some limitations, but further to that POS I was telling you about, mobile POS, that could be a solution for you as well. We at shows, we've often got that, like I showed you that iPad, that's working by cellular network. Okay. So set that up perhaps with Wi-Fi pin pad, as I had showed you a photo of. There's some opportunity there. There's some potential solution there for you. So again, I encourage you to follow that up with your STCR rep, and I'm happy to help, but I think we're on the track to give you a solution for that.
Our next question is, can the dynamic reporting be pulled at the host level or are they store level reporting only?
Both. or either or. So if you've got a host, yes, those dynamic reporting can be pulled at host and can be done so that you can decide which group of stores or any group of stores. Host level reporting, of course, is available through the same app, but it's relative to that store only. You need the host to be able to report on various stores.
The next question is, will we be able to use eSuite and Azure App Proxy in the future?
Yeah, cloud hosted is the future, and we do have customers doing it today, by the way. I know STCR has done a little bit of effort in that as well. So again, yes, we're better positioned now than ever. We've had customers put SMS Pro in the cloud, believe it or not, but it's not browser based, so access to it becomes a struggle. Yeah, you're kind of a remote desktop access to the cloud in Azure. But with the browser-based app, it's a natural fit. So yes, definitely, and we definitely have customers that are doing just that. And Azure is just one of those cloud platforms. But by the way, it's the one that at LOC we're most experienced with. If you were to come to us for help, we don't know a lot about Amazon Cloud or some of the others. We know we have experts in Azure.
The next question is, what version of SMS do I need to be able to capitalize on the top 10 you reviewed today?
It's a good question. I thought about trying to incorporate that discussion, but it isn't easy because the truth is there's not one answer for every feature I showed you. So uh, again, I sound like a cop out, but I mean, it's going to be 3.5 or 3.6, or it's going to be one of the later versions if you really want the most stable, the most feature rich. But I would recommend we have that discussion with your STCR rep, and we will definitely help answer your question. It could be like, for example, I talked about the new POS. That's only going to be available in the latest versions of SMS, but others have exist and are available in 3.5, even some of the elder 3.5s.
Okay, and then we have another question. Are there any plans to offer self-checkout? Oh no, sorry, single sign-on with SMS?
Single sign-on. Yeah, this is a term I've heard before, but I'm at a loss to realize what is it possible to get description, or are they still?
So a single sign-on is where you only have to sign in once instead of multiple places. So it's like an automatic sign-in.
I mean, I don't know that we're there. We do, because again, we're browser based. We do offer the ability to cache the password and so forth, such that you can switch between. Let's say you're in the app that is for procurement. You're doing purchasing and receiving, and now you want to move over to the loyalty app. You don't have to sign in again, because we'll cache that entry of the user and the password, and we'll give you a shortcut to move over to the other app. But I'm not quite sure that that's exactly what we're talking about here. So I don't know if we maybe we'd have to have some follow up on that one.
Yeah, so they explained that it would be something like Azure. So they would identify provider for username and passwords.
Okay. Okay. Well, we do have a little bit of let's say interrelation with not just Azure, but with the whole Microsoft platform of user profiles and such. So again, I'm probably not able to give you the best answer, but I'd be anxious to follow up on you. So if Angel can get me the details on who's asking that, I will get some better answers for you.
I can do that for you. We can talk after the webinar here.
Sure.
But I think that might be our last question.
Okay.
So thank you so much, Pat, for coming in
My pleasure.
today. And if everyone could, please join us tomorrow. We'll have an expert from Datalogic come in to go over all the latest models of handheld and scanners. He will also be explaining the features and benefits of Datalogic solution for item verification and DSD receiving. Thank you all again for joining STCR's Retail Innovation Showcase, and have a great day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.